For more on the events unfolding in Syria, I'm joined now by Ambassador Frederic C, who formerly served as the Obama administration's special advisor for the transition in Syria. He's now a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council's Rafik Hariri Center for the Middle East. Ambassador C, Syrians feel alone in panel, said there they feel abandoned. Isn't that feeling of abandonment justified when we think the big powers rushed to help Libya, but they've completely held back in Syria?
I'm not sure how justified it is, but it's certainly understandable, as we can see from the report that was just broadcast, which is absolutely extraordinary. This feeling, unfortunately, is ubiquitous in Syria. People feel alone. People feel sorely oppressed by a regime that will quite literally stop at nothing.
We know that the U.S. Defense Secretary wanted to arm the Syrian rebels, but the White House didn't want to. Do you think there's any sense the White House might change its mind?
I think it's inevitable with a change of team, particularly with Secretary of State Kerry coming in. There has to be a very rapid and complete reevaluation of strategy. And that may well be a decision that the administration comes to ultimately.
Do you think it's likely? I mean, would you support arming the rebels? Do you think it could tip the balance at this point?
What I would support is the United States really making a move to form assistance-related relationships with carefully vetted rebel groups. I think the United States has already come to the conclusion that armed people on the ground are going to be dictating Syria's future, at least for the foreseeable future. So having relationships with these groups, which may well include arms, but it could include things such as training, tactical intelligence, non-lethal military equipment, I think it's essential if the United States wants to exert some influence.
So do you think the U.S. is in danger of not exerting influence?
I think that's a real danger. I mean, it's understandable that the President of the United States has certain reservations about getting involved in terms of arming. But the downside is quite risky also. The downside is basically letting nature take its course in Syria, which could be very, very, very dangerous.
Well, we saw that foreign fighters are already on the ground. It may
Yes.
be that the U.S. is ceding influence to them, that they will determine the future direction of Syria.
Foreign fighters are still a very, very, very tiny percentage of people bearing arms against the Assad regime, but their profile is growing considerably. And this is something that, ironically, works very much to the advantage of the regime, which really wants to portray to others in Syria, particularly minorities, that their opponents are foreigners and that they are extremists. This is their line.
Ambassador Hoff, thank you very much for joining us.
It's been a great pleasure to be with you.